Hi, my name is Colin Nelson, and I did my project on water conditions and the importance of coral health in our ecosystem. Now, the first question when regarding coral health is, why do we care? And I would say the answer to this is because coral reefs are a very important factor to a marine ecosystem. They provide food for fish and invertebrates, as well as shelter for thousands of species. Not only that, but they also provide a sort of nursery for larger fish such as sharks that want to protect their young from open water predators. Now, the first problem I'm going to talk about regarding coral health is pollutants. Now, pollutants, nutrients, which are nitrates and phosphates, are both in the water that help aquatic plants and coral grow. However, too many of these nutrients creates a problem known as eutrophication, which can kill corals as well as fish, um, basically through suffocation. Now, the way these nutrients get in the soil or get into the water is from soil from farms or from other areas that use a lot of fertilizer. And what it does is when it rains, these nutrients run off into streams and straight into the ocean. And actually, behind this slide, you can see a picture of sediment running from exposed soil onto the coastline, and it really does kill a lot of the life in the area that's been infected. Climate change is also a very big factor in coral health. Coral are organisms that are extremely sensitive, not only to changes in nutrients, but also to temperature. Too high of a spike in temperature can kill many corals through a process called bleaching. And basically what happens when a coral is bleached is the zooxanthellae, which is a bacteria that lives in a symbiotic relationship with the coral and aids in photosynthesis so that coral can get its food, is expelled forcefully from the coral tissue, which cuts off its food supply and leaves it to die, and eventually being covered by some form of algae. Um, Many reefs are actually lost this way, and below is actually a picture of some form of staghorn coral going through this process of bleaching. Overfishing is also another problem in especially Eastern Asian countries because there is a very large fish market and fresh fish industry in these coastal countries. And what they've been finding as they are overfishing many of the reefs that they have to go farther and farther out into the water, which actually affects the fisherman's business. Now, this isn't the only problem. The other problem with overfishing is a concept called blast fishing, in which fishers use dynamite to basically stun or kill fish so that they can harvest them rather easily and bring them back to shore. However, not only is this taking many fish that are vital to ecosystems in coral reefs out of the ocean, but it's also destroying the coral skeletons themselves and are damaging the coral reefs, which is a very serious problem. Now, one thing people have started to do is create artificial reefs to help add biodiversity to the oceans again. And picture below, this is a typical sea seal, which is basically a man-made object that has live coral inserted into it in hopes that a new reef will be born from it. Now, this isn't the only thing that they use. They also use sunken ships and tire constructions to create these artificial reefs. But not only do they add diversity, but they become a tourist spot. People drive their attention to these artificial reefs and keep them away from the natural reefs and allow them to begin to thrive. Now, In conclusion, I would say that coral reefs are very, very, very important to keep around. Not only are they a huge basis in all of marine life, but they also do things like protect coastal towns from large waves and a encroaching water levels. Now, and overall, it's a waste really because these reefs are so full of life. Millions of organisms are living in reefs around the world, and we very well may be killing them without even discovering them. Um, and that's what really drives me to talk about this because I think it's very important. I think we really need to preserve these reefs, or in the next 50 to 100 years, we won't have any left. And that is my presentation.